Right, hello and welcome to everyone today. We got another special guest. My guest today is Matt Bessette. Well, we can say the legend of MMA and the legend of many other promotions. So, Matt, can you please say a few sentences about yourself or the introduction so we can kick off? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm a 34 fight professional veteran. I started fighting professionally because I thought I could make money as a professional, not amateur. So I didn't go the amateur route. I fought in the UFC. I fought in Bellator. I fought in the Bellator featherweight tournament. I've had 9 fights in Bellator, 2 for the UFC, 3 including the Contender Series. I'm the current CSMM featherweight world champion, and I'm about to be 36 years old this year, and I feel like I'm 21.
Outstanding. But behind this success is hidden one very, very difficult story. So you had some health issues when you were young, but you battled it out and turned it to one of the greatest mixed martial artists. So how did you battle it out?
I obviously, when you're young, you rely on your parents. What your parents tell you, you listen, right? When you're that young. I got leukemia when I was 2.5 years old, about 3 years old, I think. Um, and whatever your parents tell you, that's the truth to you. So every single day, my mother would be at my bedside when I was in the hospital, and I'd feel like crap every day, every darn day, and she would tell me like today's a bad day, but tomorrow's gonna be better. You're always gonna get better. We got to think positively. We're gonna get through this together. She's always positive. I never ever saw my mom cry while I was sick, and she was just a strong, positive um, person that I needed at my bedside. She was there when I'd wake up from surgery. She was there before I'd go under. She was there all the time, and my family was there, but it was her that I really remember being there the whole time. I didn't do that myself as a kid that age. You're strong because your parents make you strong, and when your parents tell you you're strong, that's it. You're whatever your parents tell you at that age.
Yeah, outstanding. So when did you start training martial arts?
Um, I started training in 2000, right at the beginning of 2007. So I think I was 22 at the time, and I took my first MMA fight in September of 2007. So it didn't take long before I actually stepped in the cage.
Oh, outstanding. Can you please elaborate your nickname?
The Mangler.
Yes.
Um, so I got the name before my first fight. It was a couple weeks before my first fight, and the owner of the promotion, who I trained with at the time, the owner of the promotion, is like, Matt, what are we gonna call you when you get in the cage? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's your fight nickname gonna be? And we're in a class setting, so everybody's looking around at each other like, I don't know. Am I supposed to have a nickname? Should I have a nickname? And then people are calling me funny names and they're laughing and stuff like that. And then I think it was either Kip or it was Kip Kolar, the owner of Reality Fighting, or it was my buddy Oz. One of the two said, "How about the Mangler?" And then everybody got silent and was like, "The Mangler, I like that," and it just stuck. I was gifted with that name.
Yeah, but it's very fun nickname. Who are your coaches at the moment?
My striking and MMA coach is Russell Leak out of Underdog Mixed Martial Arts in West Hartford, Connecticut. One of my other MMA coaches is my best friend, who I also own Ascension Athletics with. His name is Jeff Haddad. He's a long time wrestler, five fight MMA veteran, undefeated, and both those guys, with their tremendous amount of knowledge, they're really good cornermen. I also have my buddy Drew Cathers, um, who lives many states away right now, but he's always there when I fight. He flies in. He's my doctor if I need one, and if I don't need a doctor, like it's Bellator and they have their own doctor in there, then or cut man rather, not doctor, but if they have their own cut man, he's still there, and it makes me feel comfortable. So those are generally my 3 corners, and then I have my strength and conditioning coach is John Durrett.
Outstanding. Can we discuss your first professional fight? How did you feel heading into that fight? You know, it's always a big moment in the career of everybody. So, how were you feeling anyway?
Yeah, it's funny. Like before on fight day, when you get there, you get there several hours beforehand. You're warming up, and you're in the back, and they're wrapping your hands and stuff like that. There's people back there telling me like, look at Matt's eyes. He's ready. He's ready to fight. You can tell this kid's ready to fight, and I was. And then as soon as like my music played, it was like I had blinders on. It was just like all I could see was like it was just tunnel vision, And I got like really nervous to the point where like everything was tunnel vision. And fast forward a little bit, I got in the ring. I fought. I was exhausted after like 30 seconds, and I got the guillotine victory with like I don't know a minute into the third round, and I won. And I had to go back and look at the video to see how I did because during the fight, because I had no idea, because I was so tired, I thought that he was winning some of it, and I thought that I was winning some of it. I thought it was a lot closer than what it was. But when I watched the fight after, it was very one-sided, and it was eye-opening for me. It was quite the experience.
Yeah, in your next fight, it was split decision loss or unanimous decision loss?
My second fight was a split decision loss. Yep.
But it was a close fight, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. The way the fight went was it was mainly on the ground for the most part, and he was generally on top, and I was generally on bottom. He was the probably the stronger guy at the time. I didn't come in with the best conditioning, but I fought the whole time off my back. I had him in several arm bars. I had him in triangle attempts, guillotine attempts, like a lot of submissions, mainly just arm bars because he was leaving his arms out there. But one of the judges was Joe Lozon, and Joe said that I won two of the rounds, and the other judges were one guy's nickname was Biggie, and the other guy's name was Chris Palmquist, and Chris is actually my manager now, but he picked the other guy to win the fight. Thanks, Chris. But it was a learning experience in itself, and then after that fight, I decided to join a school and get my jiu-jitsu game up. Before that, it was just like train whenever I can, once a week, and just do fun stuff and run a lot. That's all I did.
Yeah. Your first TKO victory happened, I believe, in fourth fight, right?
Third or fourth, one of those.
I believe it was fourth.
Yeah, third was a rear naked choke, I think, and the fourth one was a TKO. Yeah, I got his back, I flattened him out, and I threw punches until the ref stepped in. That felt really good when the ref stops the fight because the guys had enough. That feels really good. Although um, also submission feels really good too. If your hand gets raised, it's a good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely get it. So you won your first title. I believe it was the vacant reality fighting title, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
how was that match? I mean, it was a title anyway. It's title, so it's a probably different feeling. It was probably a harder fight, or what can you say about it?
Yeah. I mean, it went to full distance, 25 minutes. It was a split decision. I probably wouldn't have looked. I watched the fight a few times after the fact. I probably wouldn't have been mad if he got the victory. It was that close. You know what I mean? I'm glad I did, obviously, but he left my nose pretty busted up. He broke my nose 6 minutes into the fight, and it was just like pouring blood the whole time. And I trashed his lead leg with leg kicks. His leg was pretty black and blue for a while, and we both like left each other busted up after the fight, and that was probably the most violent fight I've had, given like the amount of blood and like both of us leaving a different person after the fight. It was awesome. I love that fight. This guy's name is Anthony Caponis, and Anthony was 4 or 5-1 or something like that at the time, and he was fighting at 170, and I'm a 145er, but I fought at 55 in my first few fights. He was fighting at 170 and then came down to fight me at 55. And then when he bulked up for the fight after weighing at 155, the dude looked like 175. He was massive. He looked like a he looked like he was at least 10, 15 pounds more than me. It was crazy. But yeah, he hit hard. He was fast. Very, very good wrestler. And he's a good dude, too. I still talk to him.
Yeah, excellent. Then you fought for GFL title, right?
Yep.
And you won
Yeah,
that one too.
yeah, there's a crazy, crazy backstory with that one, with the John Benoit one. Both of us, from months leading up to the fight, we were back and forth at each other's heads, like just talking, talking, talking. He said some stuff, I said some stuff. There was a lot of hype going into that fight. Like everybody turned out for it, and um, I got a guillotine choke with 1 second left in the second round, and I predicted that victory too. I said I was going to choke him. I was winning by choke in the second round, and I finished him with 1 second left in the second round. And it was obviously like a super, super good feeling. So that's probably one of my favorite fights right there. Favorite victories. If you said my top three, I'd definitely pick that one as one of my top three.
How did you feel heading into your Bellator debut, and how did your Bellator debut go?
My Bellator debut was against Saul Almeida. Saul was like 12-1 or something like that at the time, if that's correct, or 12-1 or 12-2, something like that. Um, Saul was just prior to that. He got asked to fight in UFC on short notice, but he couldn't make the weight, so he had to decline. And then the very next fight was him. He fought, I think, Tateki Matsuda in Bellator. And then I was like, my manager was like, yeah, we can get you a fight for Bellator. Like, who would you like to fight? I'm like, I'll fight Saul Almeida. He's like, let's get you a different fight. Let's get you a little easier fight for a first Bellator fight. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is the guy I want. And, like, I know his record's good, but, like, I can beat him. I can beat him every day of the week. And, I had the confidence going in there, and I went out there, and I won at least two of the rounds, if not the third. I think one judge gave him 1 round. The other two gave me all 3 rounds. But it was a very good fight, and Saul and I still talk to this day.
You knocked out in Bellator Nick Piedmont, right? Bellator 98, right?
Yeah.
It was your
Piedmont.
first Bellator knockout, right?
Yeah. He kept on pushing, coming forward the whole time. I knew he was the aggressor early on in all of his fights, but he kept his chin up. He fought like this, so he would like keep distance while he was throwing straight punches. So I knew that it was a matter of time before I was able to throw a counter over the top, and that's pretty much how I saw the fight ending too, because he was going to overshoot like one of his punches, keep his chin up, and I was going to come over the top with the right hand, and it ended the way I wanted it to.
What do you think of Daniel Weichel as the opponent?
Daniel's very high level. Daniel's a very high level opponent. That fight was tough for the both of us. I went out to Grudge Training Center, trained with Trevor Whitman and Justin Gagey for I think it was maybe 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks for that fight, so I can train at elevation because our fight was in Utah with like at 4,500 feet. So I wanted to make sure that I was in shape for it, like to the best of my ability. And I had that advantage over Daniel because he wasn't training elevation, so he said that he was a little bit more tired than normal. But where he had the advantage, I think, is like his body was well rested and it wasn't beat up a little bit. Because when I fought Diego Nunez a few weeks prior to that, he threw a kick and it hit my arm. And I blocked it, and my forearm, if it wasn't broken, it had a really, really, really deep bone bruise. That to the touch, it was like really painful. And I was light sparring with Pat Barry when I was at Grudge, and he threw this like head kick that wasn't all that hard, and it just like hit my arm. And I was like, oh my god! So like it was, we both had stuff we were dealing with for that fight, but to speak about Daniel, like his grappling is like real high level. He constantly pushes the pace, and I love how he always moves. Actually, my striking got better because of his movement with his hands and his arms, and he's always like feinting and stuff. And I actually added that certain things that he does into my game. So that's definitely a fight that I'm glad I had. You always wish you could win, right? Every single fight, but fighting Daniel was a learning experience in itself, and it made me a better martial artist.
Excellent. How did you finish Kevin Roddy with that nasty heel hook at Bellator 144? It was a nasty heel hook. I
Yeah,
watched it. It was kinda, to me, it was kinda very hard submission. You know, you didn't have it locked in, but you immediately transitioned. So how did you do it?
yeah, yeah. Well, I came in, I kind of ducked to the right, and threw a head kick up to the left side, and it dropped him. And that's how I got on top initially. And I ended up like making space and posturing up, standing over him. He was trying to keep his legs on my hips, and I pushed the leg to the inside, sat through, um, and locked in uh, the leg entanglement, and then I got the inverted heel hook and just ripped it right away. I knew that he would kind of defend it by keeping his foot up like this, so I went after straight footlock first, and he defended like this. So then it opened up his heel, and I caught the heel. And as soon as I caught the heel, I just, as hard as I could, I just ripped it. And I heard his knee pop a few times, and he yelled, and he said, "Stop, stop, 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 stop!" And we both kind of like went like this. I was like, "You all right, bro?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm all right." I'm like, "Sorry." He's like, "No worries." And then that was it. But it was definitely loud, but you couldn't hear it in the stadium. I definitely heard it. Kevin McDonald, the referee, heard it.
Hmm.
He felt it.
Yeah, yeah. How did you lock his leg anyway? I mean, it was kind of hard to lock it. He was defending, and how did you lock his leg while you were aiming for the heel hook?
um, well, it's hard to explain. I guess I could. If his legs are up on my hip,
Okay?
okay, I grabbed his foot. I put it to this side, towards this arm. I put it underneath it like I was, securing an Achilles lock.
Yeah?
Okay, and then I took this leg over here,
Yes?
and I brought it through the inside and stepped through the inside and locked in the 411. And I sat straight to my butt. And I held that with my legs nice and tight, and I secured the straight foot lock so that he would defend it by putting his foot up, his toes up, and when he puts his toes up, it opens up his heel.
Yeah,
I was
outstanding.
actually drilling that same exact thing the day of the fight with one of my corners, and I drilled it in the back before the fight, and it just opened up. I knew that he wasn't a guy, if he's on his back, he's not a guy that tries to wrestle you to try to get on top. He's okay being on his back. So I knew that if I stood up over him, his leg would be available for me.
Yeah, it was technically a very, very hard move, and honestly, one of the greatest heel hooks I've ever seen, got to say. How did you win CSMMA championship, but not this time, for the first time you won, you know?
The first time was against a guy. His name is Joe Pingatori, and Joe was a friend of mine. I consider him a friend. Just because he didn't come to my wedding, like he said, doesn't mean he's not a friend of mine, right? We've hung out many times. We've gone out to eat. We've gone to UFCs together. One UFC together. I consider him a friend. And I was fighting. I can't remember who I was matched up against. Oh, Pedro Gonzalez. Matched up against Pedro Gonzalez. And then a couple weeks before the fight, maybe less than a couple weeks, he backed out of the fight, and I was bummed. And the only person to come forward was Joe Ping on short notice, because he was supposed to be fighting somebody else that night. So he was already going to be in shape. So he decided to step up and fight. And I was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, go find somebody else." I'm like, "I don't want to fight you." And he's like, and then he started talking crap because he wanted to like either get under my skin or get this like mental advantage or something like that. But it threw me for a curveball a little bit. And I didn't really like it. I didn't really like the feeling of fighting him, regardless, because full disclosure, I'm much better than Joe Ping, and he knows it too. He hits decently hard, but like martial arts wise, I'm far better than him. But all the times we've trained, it's just like it's not even close, and he knows it too. But every dog has its day. And he dropped me once. He broke my nose at the beginning of the fight. He cut me with an elbow. Like he was going at it, and I was constantly trying to chase him around the cage, and he was keeping his heels to the cage and just kept on circling around and staying mobile. But he got caught in my spider web of leg locks, and I finished him with a heel hook.
How did you TKO the Ray Trujillo?
Who?
Ray Trujillo.
All right. A lot of my finishes, with my hands are set up with my constant pressure, and I at that point, I just kind of continued the onslaught of punches and kicks, elbows, knees, and I like try to flood people with consistent pressure. Like if I'm punching you and your hands come up, then I'll kick you to the belly. If I kick you to the belly, like it's just constantly changing things up, because if they're thinking about what I'm doing and they can never catch up, they're not thinking about what they're doing. So that's the idea. I just like pressure people to the point where they'll never be able to catch up and think about what they need to do. So they're always on the defensive. And it was, late in the second round, I put on a pretty good striking display, and I beat him up pretty good. And then at the end of the second round, the doctor stopped the fight, I think, at that point. I think he was lumped up and kind of like defeated on the stool, and the doctor just decided to stop it.
What happened actually then the White Contender Series? I believe it was originally a win for you, right?
No. I lost that fight. I threw a right hand. It was the very first punch. It was, I don't know, within 30 seconds of the fight. The very first punch that I threw and landed. And he was too far away, and I turned over the punch too much, and my thumb came down on the top of his head. And I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't see the discoloration.
I see.
Yeah, right here and like here and down here. There are two inserts where the pins went in, but I had a Bennett's fracture in my thumb, which is a dislocation and a break. So my thumb was stuck like this after that. So I couldn't close my fist, and I kept on throwing a right hand, and it would hurt even more. It was a nightmare of a fight, and he finished me with a TKO victory. The doctor stopped in after the referee stepped in after he dropped me. So that was obviously one of the worst feelings ever. was taking that loss, breaking my hand, and having nothing to show for it.
So how much time did you need to recover your hand?
Well, after the surgery, I probably took I don't know, maybe a week max before I got back in the gym, and I just kept on throwing jabs at the bag, kicking the bag, keeping my broken thumb up here, and just working my left hand and hitting mitts without using my right hand. But I was back in the gym as much as I could, and then maybe a couple weeks later, I would throw a boxing glove over the top of it, and I would grapple with it with one hand, and probably should have just not gone that route, but I'm glad I did, because I was mentally, I still wanted to be in the fight game. I didn't want to check out completely by just sitting at home and pouting because I can't train. So I just kept training, but I was doing it with one hand. Total is probably around 2 months before I was starting to punch people again with my right hand. Maybe around 3 before I felt okay with it.
Yeah, excellent. What can you say about your UFC fights?
Great experience. The first fight was a lot of fun. I wish I could have been in better shape. I took the fight on a week's notice, which is challenging in itself, and I had to lose 7 more pounds than I usually do at that point. So that was a challenge in itself. And I think every fight has their own challenges, right? That one just posed one that was more challenging given the opponent, because Enrique comes forward and he keeps a ton of pressure on, and he's really fast. So you need to have it's a high-paced fight, and you need to be in really good shape for that. So because I wasn't in my best shape that I possibly could have been in, it was a little bit tougher for me. But it was a really good fight, and he was a gentleman before and after the fight, and you win some, you lose some, and I'd run it back with him if I could, as long as in the UFC.
Yeah. So UFC was a fantastic experience, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And in your last CS fight, how did you knock out Charles Chicks?
Charles had a good game plan that I actually figured he would try to do. I figured he wouldn't want to just stand with me and throw. Not many people would just want to just strike with me. The ones that do make for a really exciting fight, and I love that. But I figured that he would just come forward and try to pressure and take down and slow down the fight a little bit, maybe try to tire me out, bring my arms down, which is what he did. But I didn't tire out. So he probably got more tired trying to tire me out. And then I started picking up, building momentum and going after submission attempts, and making, if I like I said, if he's thinking about what I'm doing, he's not thinking about what he's doing. So I'm always trying to pressure, whether it's with jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling, clinch work, boxing, kickboxing, whatever. So in the third round, I started to really pick up steam. I hit him with a right hand and just kept him on the heels. And I just, again, punches, kicks, elbows, knees, and bring his hands up, bring his hands down, and just, if he's thinking about what I'm doing, he's not thinking about what he's doing. I caught him with the right hand as soon as he stepped into distance, and that was it.
Do you have some plans for the future, or you're now sidelined due to Corona and?
I'm never sidelined. Corona cannot sideline me. No, yeah, I'm just waiting until things open up again because I can't wait to fight. I was supposed to fight May 15th and defend my title for CES, but we obviously know what happened. Coronavirus shut everything down momentarily. So as soon as it opens back up, I'm looking to fight almost immediately, and we'll go from there.
Excellent. Would you like to add something to this interview? Is there something we missed? Would you like maybe to greet someone, maybe sponsors or?
I haven't had a sponsor in months with the coronavirus. Let me see. I'm going to say something to people. Let's see. Something motivational. Let me come up with something. First of all, I really appreciate the support that I receive from year to year. And I've been doing this since 2007. And the people that have been there for me from my first fight, a lot of them are still here with me to my 34th fight, and that shows a lot about your character. You don't have to spend that buck to come watch me, but you do. You do that to support me. You do that for the night out, yes, but you do that to support me too, and I appreciate that, and I love you guys. And as far as this pandemic goes, I hope you guys are trying to do the best you can to stay safe during these times. But at the same time, if somebody out there needs you, if they need your help for something, go out of your way, man. We're in a time right now with this little race war, I guess you could call it, in the United States. And people need each other, and whatever color you are, whatever color they are, like, we all bleed red. So go out there, show your support, and make a friend, make a new friend.
Excellent. Thank you so much for this interview. I will put now video on creation. I hope in 3-4 hours it will be finished. If not, then I will post it in the morning my time, which is probably late night your time. But until your morning it will be ready.
Okay, what time is it over there?
I'll tell you now. 10 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not too late.
No problem, I got used to it. I work in the morning, then I go, then I have obligations. I got used to it, not hard to me. I mean, when you love the sport, there is no problem.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Sleep can wait. Sleep can wait.
Yeah, absolutely. My primary occupation is web designer. I'm doing this because I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah, thank you too, and I will post it. I will post it as soon as it's created. Have a great day.
All right. All right, Vlad. You too. Thank you.
All right, goodbye.